It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Can't believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
Hey, what if we had the power to put a hex on somebody, but it has to be like a mild/funny hex? Who would you put it on, and what would it be? That was the question this morning, and you guys did not disappoint. That's coming up a little bit later on in the podcast. Let's go!
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo. Bingo!
Bingo? What bingo?
Bingo!
Here's how listener bingo works. We're looking for one, maybe a couple, amazing stories from you, but you do have to call right now if you're somebody listening who
has fulfilled a dream. I love that this 83-year-old woman from Colorado finally got to fulfill her lifelong dream of driving a race car, a real NASCAR race car.
I'm holding the steering wheel, and my heart is beating so fast. And the adrenaline just starts at my feet and just goes up and into my arms and into my hands. Couldn't believe I was driving a NASCAR race car on a bona fide
This
track.
woman lives in my neighborhood.
Does she?
Yeah, I've got
The
two
crazy old
83-year-old women that go like 115 in my neighborhood.
So how cool is AARP? They have this wish of a lifetime, and they will make, you're like a day away from them making your wish come true. What would you tell them? I want to go to the Cubs Stadium.
No,
I bet you'd say that.
If I
want to
got
swing.
If AARP was doing Make-A-Wishes, I would give me a second on this because I got a stack of them.
Yeah.
But nothing. The race car thing is cool. I would really want to go. I think there's a couple of tracks in Arizona that specialize in this, where you can take high-end sports cars and they just let you go.
If I had to pick the last thing I'd want to do, it would be that.
Really?
Just to go around in circles real fast.
I think I want to fly a fighter jet. That would be what I'd want to do.
That would be the very
I'd want to go
last
up with
thing
the
now.
Blue Angels, and I want them to just say,
You'll pass out.
No.
You'll be a YouTube
I'm good on that.
video.
I would be fine with being in the front, but somebody driving in the back.
Okay.
And then once we really got going, I would say, all right, man, I got this from here, eject. And I'd want him to eject, and I would just want to take it down.
That was your last
I think
day.
that would be great. I'm on the hunt for anyone listening who is just sitting on a buttload of collectibles. I don't know if it's coins, if it's shoes, if it's football, baseball cards, something like that. And Jason, you got the collectible thing covered for us, huh?
Yes.
What do you got?
Yeah. I have roughly around 20
Your phone is horrible.
Okay.
Marvel. It's Marvel and Star Wars and the collectibles from that, like anything from helmets to the swords to the lightsabers.
So, like, as a little kid, I had all of these Star Wars figurines, right? And then I had, like, the big Darth Vader plastic thing that you could keep them all in. But I'm guessing if you have collectibles, you've got them, like, in the packaging and stuff, right?
Yeah, we got most of them just on the wall and hanging in the basement. We have, like, kind of a movie room, and we have it set up in there.
What's the most valuable Star Wars collectible you have?
Probably the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones from back in the day, and it's kind of more expensive.
How much do you think that's worth right now? If you could go to a show, how much could you get for it?
That I would not know. I mean, last time I looked, I thought they were going anywhere about $2,000
Yeah.
for one.
That's probably a quick Google. Do people know the rules of your house, like not to touch it, or do you have a Seinfeld in your house where they just want to get their hands on it?
No, I don't have a sign. 'Cause, most people that come over are like family and friends, so they all know about it. And
You can trust them a little bit. Now, last question for you. Do you have all these insured? Like if you have a house fire or something, are you going to get your money back on these, or are they just melted plastic?
Yeah, we have the house has insurance on the house, and we put a little bit more on the house because of the collectibles.
Yeah.
And we had to show pictures to the adjuster to show how much they would, how much they are.
Now, Jason, Kat has always said that most guys that do this kind of stuff don't get any lady action whatsoever. Can you deny
I feel like you're married. You're
or
married.
confirm this rumor?
Yeah, I'm married. I've been married for 30 years, and I got 3 kids. So,
Yeah,
and it actually started with my kid. We started it for him.
Yeah.
And then it just went on as a family thing.
But that
It
proves
was in
my
his room
point.
at first.
You were married first, and then you started it.
Were you-
There's no way she would have married you if you had this stuff going on. So that's why my theory rings true.
Oh, she's just mean today, isn't she? Because we got a couple of stragglers for listener bingo. Let's bring Amber on the show. Good morning, Amber. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Tell me about your husband. He's got collectibles, right?
Oh, he's got lots of different collectibles.
Okay, start with the one he loves and values the most.
Probably his agates. He's got a lot of agates.
Does he spit on them?
Can you hear me roll my eyes from here?
They fell off his
Yeah.
off his head. I had to pick them up.
Is there any
He hasn't.
is there any value to the agates, Amber?
Yes, he does have quite a few that have some significant value, and then probably the second one would be he has a collection of the Pez little candy dispensers.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
now those, if you've got them in the case and they're pretty rare, those can be worth a lot of money, right?
Yep, and his mom started that for him when he was a kid, and sadly she has passed away. But he's got a lot of really cool, valuable ones.
Do you ever get to play with them, or are they off limits for you?
They're off limits.
In a fight, have you ever bent the head back and you're like, I'm going to snap it?
Oh yeah,
I'm
like
gonna
you
snap
guys
it.
have a big fight and you just hold them hostage.
Well, there's some that he's like, okay, we can open those and eat those, but because there's not, it's not worth that, as much value. But all the other ones are still in the case and worth a lot of, well, I don't know how much they're worth, but they're worth some. Some of them are worth some pretty good value.
So what's the end game here? Like, do we save them until he dies, or are you guys planning on doing some research and selling and going on a trip somewhere?
I'm not really quite sure. I mean, they take up a lot of space, so I would rather them go some of them we have displayed, some of them are in containers. I think he wants to pass it off to his kids, which I'm sure they're not as thrilled about.
They will be when they see the value of them one day.
Right. So I think that we probably will do some more research and then probably, sell them to somebody who would value them just as
Somebody
much.
who doesn't know better.
Right.
Right. Thanks, Amber. I really appreciate your call this morning. I'm a little bit low on time, so let's bring Zach on the show. What's good, brother? How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
What? Hold on. What are you giggling
Derek
about?
texted me, remember when I had a valuable collection of sun decor and you made me get rid of them?
Valuable. I'm sure it was.
Yep.
Zach, what do you got of value that you're collecting?
I actually have probably about over $350,000 worth of car Lego sets.
Oh, wow.
Wait a minute. How are they so valuable?
Some of them are extremely rare, and some of the ones that I have are 1 of 10, 1 of 5, and then I have one Hot Wheel that is 1 of 3.
Yeah.
And
are you one of those guys at like Mall of America, Legoland, like nobody can bother you for a few minutes?
Yes, at Legoland, yes. That is.
Kid in a candy store, I'm sure. Where do you have these things showcased?
I actually have them showcased in my house. I have an entire wall dedicated to them, and then I also have them spread out at my mother's house, my grandmother's house, and then I also have a storage unit full of them as well.
Wow.
Now, do these get put together, or are they still in the box, and that's how they retain their value?
Some of them stay in the box. I have some of them that stay in the box. Some of them I do put together, but a lot of them stay in the box because they retain more value that way.
But it brings you joy to put these things together. Like you get to sit there and just kind of be alone with your mind.
Now, imagine you're in the dating world here, Zach, and this is what you lead with when you sit down for a date. Are you getting a second date out of this?
Actually, I have before. The girlfriend that I currently have, I told her that I was a Lego nerd, and that's cool. She actually builds Legos too, and she has kind of a love for them as well.
And she's real.
And she is real, yeah.
Yes. That is exciting.
Dude, you're a 1 in a million. And you think this is like, you're talking like you could buy a house if you sold all these off. They're worth that much.
Yeah, I could probably, with my Legos and my Hot Wheel collection itself, I could probably retire, and I'm 23.
Well, when is this going to happen? Why are you
Cash them
sitting
in.
on it?
Yeah, why are you going to work today? Cash this in.
Yeah, get a yacht. Find some honeys. What a life.
I think a lot of it is more sentimental value than anything.
Sure, okay.
The things that I have received that are rare actually came from my great-grandpa and my current grandpa.
Are you the only 23-year-old we know that has Legos still on their Christmas wish list?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I doubt it, too, because when I take my nephew to Legoland, it is like there are more adults than kids.
But last question: has your love of Legos and Matchbox cars turned into anything of a career for you?
Like an architect?
Actually, sadly, no.
Okay. Well, it's good to have an outside passion, though. But this is crazy, and I'm assuming like our other callers, you have like extra insurance on this stuff because it's so valuable.
I do, yes.
Yeah, great stuff, man. I'm glad you checked in. I hope you have a great day. Got Kat and JJ on the radio. How are we feeling?
I am feeling so much better.
Good.
Do I sound better? A little bit better?
Yeah, a little hacky, but pretty good. I mean, there's a couple of burps and whistles and everything like that prior to the show. So it's a
Nice.
what I would say it's an
A simple
orchestra,
yes would have been
a
fine.
tapestry of unique sounds that come out of our studio early in the morning.
Absolutely. So I had that surge, when you're sick, you're down, you're like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything. And then when you feel just slightly better, you have that like energy surge to get stuff done.
So what'd
and
you do?
I did like so much around the house. I cleaned a bunch of stuff and then I deep cleaned my fridge. Just randomly, I was standing there and I look at my fridge. I'm like, you're my next victim. And I don't do it enough. And I posted the video on my socials, but it was so funny because Liam's reaction was, are you trying to be an influencer by cleaning my fridge? That's how little I do it. But it just felt good to like deep clean it, get in there and scrub. And that was what brought me joy.
And then you threw away 50 pounds worth of food that you didn't need, right?
There was stuff from 2024, like early in the year. I'm like, what is happening? Some walked out on its own, had legs. I'm like, all right, you got to get going. But also we bought Liam a basketball hoop from Walmart.
Yeah. You get that set up yesterday?
And Angie's List is they team up with Walmart. So if you have like a piece that you buy that needs assembly, they'll send somebody out there for like an extra fee, obviously. So this guy, Matthew, shows up and super professional, gets out of his car, just grabs the big box, starts setting it up in just, 60 minutes. It took him to set it all up and he did a wonderful job. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Matthew. That extra fee was $110. So I'm okay with them doing that for that amount of money,
And then it's done right. Now, can you hold him accountable? Like if something goes wrong, can you call Matthew and be like, dude, a bolt fell out, come get it?
I'd probably contact Angie's List. But
Okay.
I gave him a 5-star because he was just like in and out, quick. Gave him $20 for some dinner on the way home. And I think that if you're a handyman, team up with Angie's because if you are looking for like extra cash, they'll hire you out and it's so smooth. I don't know how much he gets from that 110. I would assume that it's like a deal with Walmart and Angie's.
At 75.
Really? You think that?
I bet you there's that much of a fee.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That makes me sad. Anyway, give him a glass of water, though.
Oh, you got water, you got dinner, you got $75 for an hour's work. Not bad.
And Liam had basketball last night, and that is that.
We had a bunch of mulch delivered to our home yesterday, kind of for landscaping. And I was under the impression that my wife had ordered. I said, go ahead, this is what we want. Go ahead, order it up, get the delivery. Yeah. We have over 2.5 acres of property, and the guy put it right in our front yard.
Yes.
Not in any of the driveway spots. They dropped the pallets. They backed them up into the middle of our front yard.
Yeah, this is not foreign to me. My mother-in-law is a mulcher, and so she gets truckloads. They drop it off, and then she has her little gator.
Yep, and I would be fine with that. But now I have 2 pallets of mulch sitting directly in the middle of my front yard. And I was thinking, I'll just chip away at this. And I'm like, I got to go hard on this to get this out of my friggin' front yard.
Don't you have a baseball team?
Yeah, but they play ball.
Not when it's mulch season.
I have never heard the term financial divorce, mostly because when my wife and I really first started dating, she was a sophomore in college and was working for Prince. So she's always had way more money than I have. And the idea of a financial divorce would break me. If my wife just said, I'm keeping mine and you keep yours, it would be lights out. You
have become accustomed to a certain lifestyle.
I have.
And I could see you saying that in front of a judge. She's screwed.
Oh, my God.
She makes so much more money than you.
I would get so much alimony.
Alimony.
And people would be mad about it, but I would be super happy. And then when Mark had texted us, I was like, you got to explain a little bit more about this. So you want to kind of break down what's going on here?
I've been going through marriage counseling, and my marriage counselor has suggested I get a financial divorce.
Like you guys each make your own money and then pay certain bills? Is that what this is?
Yeah. So it's strange. So we had a joint account and it just doesn't seem to be working. So the counselor wants to set up that I pay certain bills and then my wife pays certain bills. And I think it's kind of strange.
I think it's strange too. It's normal for people to decide that before they get married. So obviously you're saying that this joint account situation is not working for you and your wife. Does somebody have their hands in the cookie jar a little bit too much, or just not understanding budget? Where's the disconnect for you guys?
All I got to say is there's always a package at my door.
Okay. All right. Way to place blame without doing it out loud. Okay.
I've heard of relationships like my sister, right? She was married and then, but like before they got married, he had his own house and she brought a kid into the relationship. So like they split bills off of her check and his check based on, kind of the way they entered that relationship. But I've never heard of this being like a part of your marriage after you've been married for a while. So you're just not feeling it though, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly where else to go from this. I mean, it's like I said, it's piling up right now, and I'm not looking to get divorced.
I think this would be interesting to see if anyone else has gone through this and maybe can throw some levity into the situation, because to me it seems odd. But
I'm glad you're working with someone though, because that really holds people accountable. Because then you go back to your next meeting, and then everyone has to be honest with how it's going. So I don't know. Maybe give it a try and see if it works out.
I guess we'll see, guys.
Is anybody who's been married for a while that does this? Like, you've got your bills, they've got their bills. Maybe you have a communal fund for fun or vacations or something like that.
I know a lot of people that are not joint account couples. And it's weird to me because I'm the banker and
you give him his allowance.
I give him his allowance and we have a set budget. And if we all just play the role and do our part, the end game is to be financially secure when you're older, right?
Right.
So we can just relax and enjoy the older part of our years. But there's always that one person that's like, I want to buy this. I want to spend money on this, and you can't afford it.
Just talked to Mark a couple of seconds ago, and I guess it's not therapist. What do you call it if you're going through is it a therapist?
They're not going through a divorce. They're just like, it's like just a counselor.
Okay, so they're going through counseling, like a financial counseling in his marriage. And the counselor said, you guys should get a financial divorce. And that's like where you just kind of keep your money. Like your check goes into your checking account and you pay the certain bills.
Yeah.
And he said a lot of it is stemming from the fact that there's an Amazon package on his doorstep every single day.
And that's got to be really unsettling that you have this plan for your financial future and then somebody else that, is going to be along for the ride isn't going along with the plan. That would make me feel very unsettled.
Now, Billy Joe, you said you've had this kind of a arrangement for 21 years with your husband?
Yes. So I was married once before, and my ex-husband was very much the financial controller, where I had to ask for money. So when I entered into my relationship with my current husband, I had set the boundary right off the bat that we have separate checking accounts. You do you, you do me. And when we got married, we agreed to a joint account, like a joint savings account.
Yeah, okay.
And a lot of it was because I wanted my independence. I wanted to be able to earn my money and spend my money how I wanted to. I also entered that relationship with a child from the previous relationship. So it was very important to me to be able to care for her how I wanted to. My current husband was very free with, like, whatever you need, I'm here. I'm here to support the both of you. But I was hurt, and it was trauma for me from my first marriage that I wasn't going to do it again.
Yeah.
And we don't fight about money. So it's been wonderful.
Now, what if you guys want to buy like a new car, right? Like, is that all? If it's your car, it's just you paying those payments?
No, we work on that together. Like, I'll pay the insurance, he'll pay the car payments. If one comes out of his account, the other comes out of mine.
Okay. Yeah.
He pays the mortgage. He pays the car payment. I pay the insurance on the house, the cars. I pay the electric bill because the mortgage is a lot more than what I put into the bills. And at the end of the day, it comes out equal. And when you're alone before you get into a marriage or anything, you pay your bills independently anyway. So it's not a big deal. You know what you pay. You have a system and it works.
Yeah. You found something that works for you. I have a question about your savings account. So do you each put in a certain amount every single month? Like, this is expected 500 from you, 500 from you? Because if you do, God forbid, get a divorce, like, do you cut it down the middle? Do you have rules for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he makes more than I do. So he does have a lot more opportunities to put money into that joint account. But like when we get our taxes back, there's a specific amount that we're like, okay, so all this gets cut into a third and this goes, you pay what you have to pay. We pay off the credit cards, whatever's left over. That's what goes for vacations and all the other things. And then when I have extra money in my paycheck, I throw money in there too.
Well, it sounds like you have great communication, and that's where it starts. Like, then you won't have to end up seeing a counselor as long as everybody is on the same page. Money is the root of all evil in relationships. So
we see a counselor, but it's not for money.
Oh,
all right. Well, another day, another story. Thank you, Billy Joe. I really appreciate it. I want to bring Troy on the show real quick. Troy, I got just a couple of seconds here, but you guys do the same thing? Do you do the splitting of the finances?
Yeah, I make majority of the money. We both have access to each other's accounts. I make all the financial decisions. I went and bought a $300,000 house, a brand new car, and the agreement was she pays the car insurance and the maintenance on the new cars, and I pay everything else.
And this seems to be working for you guys? There's never any, kind of holding it over anyone's head?
She comes from and not having much growing up. I come from quite a bit of money, so I've always been a full spender. But she saves and I'm the spender, but I make more and I cover us, and it works perfect.
Oh.
I'm hearing a lot of I, me,
stop.
Troy. This has never been an issue?
No. I will let her buy whatever she wants, and if she doesn't have enough, I'll give her the money or float her bills if she doesn't have enough. And
if it doesn't work out with her, you know what to find me.
What if you had the power to put a mild, not a big hex, but a mild hex on somebody you didn't like?
Mm-hmm.
Your brain starts running wild with this. What would you do?
Well, I would do it on somebody that obviously thinks that they are correct all the time. So my mild hex would be...
Your mom?
You think I'm looking at you? Your eyes? Nope, neither of you. But I would do a mild hex of them always giving the wrong answer. So even though they know up here might be the right answer, what comes out of their mouth will never be. It's kind of like liar, liar. You know how he just wants to lie, but only the truth comes out? It would be the opposite.
That's a good one.
Yes.
If we had the power to put a mild hex on your worst enemy, what would that hex be? Beth?
Okay, no problem. I have no problem putting this on Heidi. Yeah, I have a big problem with Heidi.
Oh, you're calling her out by name. We're saying names. All right. So what would
it out there?
What would be the hex you'd put on Heidi?
Would have uncontrollable flatulence, no matter where she is. If she's at a job interview, flatulence. If she's trying to go
yeah, but you don't want that at work. You're going to be at work. You want her flatulence at where you work?
This is a hex, and this is a mild one at that. So let's say she's inside of a store, and she's getting a nice little outfit put on and flatulence. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, my God. That is a curse. I feel like you're doing that with your hands, too. Are you going flatulence?
I am. She's in the plane, and she's like, I've got to get out of the aisle in the middle seat. Flatulence. You know what I'm saying?
Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Everybody!
Cassie is about to talk about one of my biggest fears as being a sports parent. You want to break this down for us real quick?
I am so embarrassed right now. I was at a baseball game with my husband, and while another kid was at the plate, they were talking trash, as fathers do, about other players. The problem is the mother of the child at the plate was recording, and you can hear them in the background running their mouths. And she posted it on Facebook, and now the comments are going viral. The comments are going wild, talking about these two jerk dads in the background running their mouths. And, my husband has a very recognizable voice. It's very distinct.
Yeah.
So I'm getting messages and calls like, why is this on Facebook? And I've messaged the mom, like, please, can you take this down? you know, and she is like, absolutely not. They need to learn a
Really?
lesson. And I'm just kind of like, yes. But I'm like kind of in a rock and a hard place. You know, normally, say you go out with your friends and you take a picture, you're like, I look terrible in that. Can
Yeah.
you take it down? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And they take it down. This lady is saying firm 10 toes down.
That is
She doesn't
crazy
wanna
that she's
remove
doing
it.
that, even though you guys are going to see each other at every single game. You know, like
Exactly. What do I do?
I don't know what you do. I mean, what does your husband say about getting kind of caught
Yeah, does he
red-handed
care?
like that?
He said I'll say it with a loudspeaker next time.
Ah,
Dang,
he's
so he
that
doesn't
guy.
even care. You're the only one that cares then.
Yeah, he does not care. He at all does not care. He said if it wasn't true, I would have said it. I'm like, these are children.
All right, so what do we do here? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, other than telling your husband, like, get further away, what's the play?
It's not just him, though. He's talking to somebody else. So I would think if the wife of the other person ended up talking to this mom, maybe both of you can convince her to take it down, because it's not going to help anybody. They're talking about these kids. The only victims in this are the kids.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's going to look bad, but he obviously doesn't care.
No.
So now you just got a bunch of kids talking about some parent crapping on their play.
So she wants to teach a lesson more than to save face for these children, which is a little disturbing.
So if you're Cassie here, what's your move? Talked to Cassie a couple of seconds ago. The dilemma in OPP is...
I was at a baseball game with my husband, and while another kid was at the plate, they were talking trash, as fathers do, about other players. The problem is the mother of the child at the plate was recording, and you can hear them in the background.
And they're not being generous.
I am hot for her. And then she went and asked if she could take it down. She's like, no, I'm going to teach these guys a lesson. Do not talk crap about kids, which there's some truth to that. But how many parents out there can admit that they've never
Force
said,
you under your
oh,
breath.
God,
Like, oh,
not this
that's
kid
bad
again.
right now.
But
Felicia, what would you do if you were in this spot?
I think if it was me, own up to it. I mean, would he have talked differently if he knew everyone was going to see it?
well, it sounds like he owned up to it. He doesn't even care if anybody hears it. It's
Cool. Then she needs to back up her husband and live with it. It's what you do at the game, I guess.
Yeah. Man, but to say no, like you wouldn't say no if somebody told you to take it down, right? Because you're going to have to see them all the time, sometimes 3 times a week. So,
Oh, no. If it was my kid and I was recording my kid playing and that's just what was going on, I would have posted it. It would have been the same outcome.
but if somebody asked you to take it down, wouldn't you take it down?
No, not in this situation.
I love this
If they're
Not in
talking
this
crap about a
situation.
child, you wouldn't take it down. I would want to not hurt that child's feelings, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, how much of a bubble are we going to keep our kids in before they realize
Fair.
the world's mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Jeez,
I mean,
Felicia, you're not
like
the Felicia.
Well,
I know.
I get it. Like, not everything is rainbows and tulips. You know what I mean? So I get it. You know, everybody needs a little adversity to grow. So I like your angle on this. I appreciate you hollering at us.
Yeah, it's just a good teaching moment. That's what I think.
Yeah, good
for
you.
everybody involved, including the adults.
Yeah, thank you, Felicia. Oh, one more thing.
Uh-oh.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Kat. Bye, JJ.
Bye. Okay, so I have been nominated to do the Ice Bucket Challenge. You heard that yesterday?
All of my
right?
friends, or all of my kids' friends, were nominated over the weekend, and they were
Yeah.
all jumping in our lake. And I'm like, oh,
That's
it's
not
the
what it
same,
is.
dummy.
It's the Ice Bucket Challenge. But 11 years ago, did it for ALS. Now, USC had started at University of South Carolina. They've recharged the idea to raise awareness for mental health issues. And the host of the Today Show got a hold of it.
I'd like to nominate some people. Savannah, Craig, since you did it to me last time, Al Roker, and Carson.
Oh, are you ready to do this?
Well, let's just do the challenge.
In 3, 2, 1. Oh my God, right here.
Yes.
On the set.
I was told they weren't going to do too much water. Here we go.
For mental
Jenna, you
health.
are a
That's
great
awesome. Way to
sport.
kick it off.
I accept your nomination.
I accept it as well.
Here's what I have a problem with. Not with boosting people's awareness for mental health, but don't do the same gag again.
Yeah, be creative.
Find a new gag. You never do the same one again.
Liam was nominated. He put his on his Instagram, so I'm going to do mine today. Pooh Bag Diva, all one word, on Snapchat. Follow me for all the wet fun. That's the only wet fun that you'll see there.
Becoming a U.S. citizen is no easy feat. You make your way here, you study for a while, and then you have to take the immigration test. Now, I'm going to give Kat her own immigration test.
Okay.
You win, you get all the credit in the world, and you're a rightful American. You lose, we're shipping you to El Salvador tomorrow.
This is why they call us all ignorant, because we're born here. We should know this stuff.
There is no way that you or I would ever pass the immigration test right now.
Not at all.
If we were given it, there is no way. There are I would say 50% of collegiate graduates couldn't pass the immigration test.
It's because you have the privilege of being born here. And then so therefore you're like, I don't need to know any of this. Why?
So, for a one-way ticket to El Salvador, Kat, all you have to do is get 80% of these right.
Oh, God. How many questions?
There's 10 questions.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
This is not easy, but it really is.
Got it. If it weren't for my Minnesota accent, I'd be screwed.
In Topeka, Kansas, it's illegal to sing this song in public at night. Is it Carry On My Wayward Son, the Alphabet Song, or Follow the Yellow Brick Road?
I'm going to say Carry On My Wayward Son. Yellow Brick Road? The Alphabet Song?
You can't sing the Alphabet Song at night in Topeka, Kansas against the law because they don't want people to learn the alphabet because of DUI stops.
So they don't think that they know that already?
They don't want you to sing the song.
Then you deserve to go to jail if you don't know the alphabet when you get pulled over.
Kat, it's illegal to give a moose blank in the city of Fairbanks, Alaska. It's illegal to give a moose a gummy worm, a moose knuckle.
Gross.
Or alcohol.
A gummy worm. That'd be something dumb like that. Then alcohol.
You're 0 for 2. I'm going to cut this.
But these are stupid.
I'm going to cut this. These are actual laws. You should know the laws of the United States of America.
But these are not on an immigration test.
This is your immigration test.
Okay. So now how many do I have to get? I have to get the rest of them right.
If you're on the table, we'll keep you here. Otherwise, El Salvador tomorrow.
All right.
In Texas, under no circumstance are women allowed to have blank in public after 6 p.m.? Is it onions? Sex with a cop? Or a tarantula?
Onions.
Onions is right.
Onions.
Nice job. Well
Gotta
done.
have some nice breath before bed.
In California, if your frog died during a frog jumping competition, it is illegal to sell it, eat it, or name it.
Eat it.
Eat it is right. Nice job. All right. You get this one, you stay.
You just don't want to do the work I do over here.
If not,
so I get it.
El Salvador. In Alabama, everybody should know this. It is illegal to drive while blank. It's illegal to drive while parked, blindfolded, or eating a pulled pork sandwich.
I'm going to say it's Alabama, so I'm going to say illegal to drive parked because they're not smart. And they would say something like that. Then pulled pork sandwich. Then the other one. See? I know my stuff.
I'm going to give you one more.
Here.
No. You got it wrong. It's El Salvador tomorrow. I'll give you one bonus question.
Okay.
In Maine, it's illegal to blank your landlord. In Maine, it's illegal to tickle your landlord, to boink your landlord, or to bite your landlord.
Tickle. Bite.
Bite is right.
What are they doing over there that these laws have to be made?
It's the 50K birthday. Your chance at $50,000. Just crack the code. Guess the PIN number and win.
Tyler's number 10 this morning and clearly hasn't had his first cup of coffee yet, has he?
No, I have not.
All right. Well, we're going to pump it up. Now, let's say you get 50 grand, minus a vacation and minus bills. Tell me something that you really, really want to spend money on that you just haven't found a way to do it yet.
New vehicle.
Okay.
There you go. I was looking at slingshots the other day, just dreaming away.
Just to see you in a slingshot would crack me up.
Why? They're so badass.
Mostly because I've seen you on your recumbent bike.
It's
and to
a
make,
different
to
monster.
make that kind of... Tyler, do you know anybody with a recumbent bike?
No.
No. Would you be willing to be...
recumbent bike is.
Oh, it's one of those where you sit down,
lean back,
and lay back. And usually, like, they have a helmet and a big flag, and, they just kind of look a little off.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you got to lean way back on them.
Yeah.
I think I've seen them before. I just
Listen,
didn't know what it was
you
called.
could go 20 miles on one of these things, and it feels like you only went 2. It's pretty incredible.
And that's great. But the mockery and the just sheer look of that.
The amount of excitement you have for bingo, I would say, is pretty parallel.
What's worse, Tyler, loving bingo or loving recumbent bikes?
Be careful. We have quite a crowd.
Probably bingo. I'm not a fan of bingo.
That's just because you haven't fallen in love
That
with it
didn't
yet.
work out for
You'll
you,
get
did
there.
it?
You'll get there, Tyler. All right. For $50,000, what we need from you are 5 numbers, 0 through 9. And if they pop open the safe, you keep all 50 grand and you're going car shopping. What do you got for us, bud?
58472.
That was very planned out. 58472.
Yeah. You had those numbers ready. Do they mean anything?
I did. No, it popped into my head this morning when I was thinking about it.
I was like, I need coffee, 58472. So let's go, guys. Punch those in. Let's see if we can get Tyler a new ride.
58472.
Come on now.
Come on.
You blew it!
That is just wrong.
You could buy 60 recumbent.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Wait,
You're wrong.
gotta be more than that. How much is a recumbent bike?
They're very expensive. Go to
Like
Eric's.
$500?
Mm-hmm.
No
Oh, yeah.
way. You pay
Yes.
$500 to look like that?
And for the tire replacements, like that's even more. That's why it's just sitting in my garage because I need a front tire replacement. And I'm just say what you want to say because your face says
I
it all.
want to tell Tyler that unfortunately we can't give him $50,000 today, but I'm going to hook you up with a new T-shirt just so you can look sharp. How's that? What are you going to do for Earth Day? How are you going to make our planet a better place, Kat? We turn
get
to
free
you.
meals anywhere? Don't you think we should
That's
get
where
salads?
your head went to. I'm gonna help the Earth heal. To where do I get
guarantee
free
you.
stuff?
Earth Day freebies. I bet there are places. Yeah, 14 Earth Day food deals happening today. Look at that.
That'll help the Earth heal.
Mhm. Oh, but what am I going to do?
Yeah, what's your purpose today?
I do stuff every day. I recycle every day. I make conscious decisions not to buy food that I know is going to go
You gonna drive
bad.
today? Are you already drive in and hurt our environment?
Mm-hmm. I did. What do you want me to walk here and never get here?
Listen, if you'd really cared, you would have.
That's not how I look at it. I do a lot of things every day, do my part. I try not to waste water. I've taught Liam, brush your teeth, shut the water off while you're brushing your teeth. You don't need it running. So no, you worry about yourself, okay?
I'm not worried about myself because I'm doing very little to help this planet.
I know you are. You're very vocal about it.
I think that's my kid's problem. It's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
That's disgusting.
My grandchildren's problem. My parents left me with a bunch of problems. Why? I think that's
Your
just
mom
only
was
right.
never environmentally friendly. You don't remember her doing things that could help the environment?
Not one.
What about their beer? Like it was in glass bottles, so they turned them in and they
For money.
refilled them out.
If they
they didn't like
I
use
can tell you.
plastic bottles.
I can tell you for a fact. When my old man would go get a returnable case of Pfeiffer,
Mm-hmm.
if he wasn't going to get some money back for that, they would have been crushed up in a big barrel in our garage,
Very
or used for
rarely.
target practice, or he'd have thrown them at the neighbors.
Really?
Yeah, my parents had zero environmental feel, none whatsoever.
Okay.
And if we planted a tree, it was because we didn't want to see our neighbors. That was it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I had this thought of them recycling and
Don't put them on such a high horse.
All right.
Listen, I found out a couple of things about Pope Francis, and obviously everybody's still kind of buzzing about what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, right? So you got the viewing, and then you have the funeral, and then there'll be a little mourning period, and then there's the conclave, right? And then basically, I think, what did they say? They have to get 2/3 vote on the conclave to get a new pope. And as people are going to watch the smoke come out, if it's black smoke, that means they didn't come to the decision of a new pope yet. And if it's white smoke, that means we're going to get a new pope, right? But a couple of things about Pope Francis that you may not have known about. Pope Francis, His Holiness, was once a bouncer.
At a club?
This dude was a bouncer at a nightclub in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Before he was Pope, he was a bouncer. This dude manned the door.
Yeah, I believe it. It's always the people that lived kind of a fast life that all of a sudden one day they got the calling and they're like, I'm never doing that again.
At one point, some hot chick rolled up to Pope Francis and said, I'm with the DJ. And he's like, no. And he wouldn't let her in.
Wow.
At one point, he most likely looked at somebody and said, no, you're just not good looking enough to get in here. That's the Pope. By the way,
don't we all say that every once in a while?
The Pope also once owned a Harley Davidson. The company gave it to him in 2013. They auctioned it off the following year. There's no proof that he actually rode the Harley.
No photo, no proof.
But at one point, the Pope rode a Harley.
So I wonder what the hardest part was to give up, going to the life of just serving the Lord. I wonder what the hardest part is, giving up.
I would say just possessions, right? Like just material things. Like you want to go
good with
shopping,
that.
somebody already goes, hey, here's a new robe.
That's nothing for me. I'd be good with giving up possessions, but maybe TV. TV would be a tough one for me.
I think the Pope could watch TV.
Really? I feel like they'd always find something better for him to do. Like they would say,
you're telling me
you're
the
going to do
Pope
30 minutes of Saved by the Bell, sir, and not pray for
after
people?
a long day of blessing, forgiving sins, and looking out for the 1.2 billion Catholics on the planet, the Pope couldn't sit down and watch the news at night?
No. I think it's those little luxuries that they give up, especially at that level.
By the way, Pope Francis also vowed that he would baptize aliens, the outer space kind, if they ever came here and asked for it.
Okay, well, that's a nice guy.
He said about the aliens, when the Lord shows us the way, who are we to say, no, Lord, it's not prudent. No, let's do it this way. Who are we to close doors? So when the aliens finally come down, is that a question they'll ask of the new Pope? Will you baptize an alien baby?
I feel like it's a really lengthy answer that he gave. I feel like it was like us.
He's a very
sure,
thoughtful
why not?
guy.
Sure, why not?
I just couldn't believe he was a bouncer. At one point,
You think he had that black T-shirt on, and then the
Said
gold
security.
chain. Yep, walkie-talkie, those acid wash jeans.
yeah. What if he had an affliction shirt on? Well, and he was jacked. Like you got a jacked Pope, just not letting people like you
Are
in
we
the
allowed
club.
to do this? He hasn't even been dead for 2 days.
I don't think it matters. I would. This is what I'm hoping for, is that we get this kind of information about whoever's the new Pope. When the white smoke comes out and they're like, this is your new Pope, I want a list of this stuff. I want to know that he owned a Harley.
You won't get
and
it
that he
until they
bless
die.
aliens. And really? Mm-hmm. I want to know what he used to do as a kid.
They keep that close to the vest.
Like he was amazing at stickball. You know, like I want to know things like that.
Scandalous.
It doesn't have to be
Stickball?
scandalous. Well, being a bouncer isn't scandalous.
Well, yeah, but that's like sensational. Stickball?
You ever tried to play stickball?
Never.
It's freaking hard.
Yeah, that's why I would never.
I
try
want
it.
a Pope with that kind of hand-eye coordination.